whenever we finish anyway. Yeah.
Wait.
Can you tell her?
Okay, but you have your fish again.
Okay. Yeah. The pike is good. Like, oh yeah, we did. Used to do fish fries. Yeah. If somebody knew what was, yeah. We had a friend that could cook pickerel and pike. Yes. Yeah. And it's yeah. Brent would we'd go out with the kids and we'd catch like a whole bunch of sunfish and we'd cook them up. Yeah, we did that too. And people had no idea. Yeah, my kids. Yeah. Yeah. They're fun for the kids to catch, and if they're meaty enough, we get a whole new one. And we used to catch a lot of bass. Yeah, and the kids, so much fun. Yeah, yeah, and they're good. It's just, yeah, you gotta know how to fill it. Yes, there's a lot of things. Yep. Yeah, Brett taught all the kids know how to fish. So 4 kids. So. Oh, you got 4 kids. Yeah. Oh, so yeah. Wow, good for you. Boy, girl. Justin's 35, and then 3 girls. Oh, 31, like 27, 24, yeah. Yep. All 3 of my kids are there. Oh, yeah. My youngest one, she teaches in Old South, but they have a shoot market. Okay. South College. Right. Oh, so right now we have probably about 30 little babies. Oh, yeah. Probably this year they staggered it in like 3 intervals. Yeah. So that's what the first batch. Yeah. And now they just keep them for sharing? No, they keep them and they also share. Oh, okay. But they don't share. These 2 guys, they come. Oh, yeah. So fast. I know. It's amazing to watch them. Oh, yeah. And my daughter just zip, zip, zip. You gotta see them. Yeah. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah. This is their first rodeo. It's awesome. And so your oldest is? So he lives in Rockland. He's actually close to John's fish cottage. Yep. And he works at so, but he works from home. She does all the cooking for CAT scans. Oh, okay. Yeah. So we can nice. How old is he? He lives in his 40s, approaching 40s. And then my other daughter, she's in the military, but her husband is she lives in Blackwater. She does all the accounting for the and then she did it in Montreal after she yeah, it was a lot. Yeah, I got a couple friends that are osteopaths. Oh, yeah. It's like hard to get osteophyro. Yeah, it's just there's a big difference. Yes. Yeah. I think yeah. Osteopath is a lot better for you, especially for women with lymphatic drainage. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So, and then she's a presenter. And how many grandkids? 8. 8. Yeah. Big family. So 2 from each? Nice. That's it. That's it. That's enough. Does everybody have a boy and a girl? No, lots of girls. There's 2 that have 2 girls, and 2 that have 1 boy. Yeah, we got 2 granddaughters so far. Oh, nice. Yeah. Are the, well, Elise just turned 2. Oh, okay. So that's a no. I know. And Olivia is going to be 9. So yes, she already does. Yeah. My grandson, both my grandsons, they're actually he's from Chaplin. Oh yeah. Yep. Small world. Small world is my father-in-law's favorite place to go. In Chaplin. Yep. Yep. Oh. she was 5 miles away from us.
They took a trailer.
Yeah, us too. We had a big trailer.
Yeah, and there was like nobody around.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
We used to go with other families.
Yeah.
It was great. We had so much fun. And we would live in fish fry.
Yeah.
Fish fry, like, pickle for
Yeah.
breakfast, with our eggs,
Yeah, whatever there
lunch,
was.
and-
Yeah, that's awesome. It was something, and it's funny. We'd always
Check.
when we
Check
were
1, 2.
out where we were.
Really big muskies? Is that a good volume?
Trailer at,
Present, presentation is so worth waiting
So
for.
when the kids
I
were
just tell
bring
you,
somebody
and your
out,
patience will be rewarded. Well,
they
about
had
2
to go
minutes.
fish.
Yes.
The girls
It's a
would go out.
prerequisite.
We have some videos to show, and
And then
I can talk without a video screen, no problem at all. But we have some really cool videos that we did from last year. Young Noah has a couple videos that went to 1 million views online of surface strike and working a glide bait at the side of the boat like you've never seen anybody work a glide bait for 45 seconds to get a fish to strike. Hopefully we can show you that. If not, I'll tell you all about it. It won't be as good, but we'll work on it.
It's really sad to think that. But I think it's great.
No videos?
Oh yeah, yeah.
My youngest grandson, who lived on the farm, 2 summer goers, he says to his mom, he says, Mom, I'm going to go fishing because these are the kids at school. And the daycare in anyway, she calls me and she says, my brother's all set up. You know, the daycare this and she said, I thought that Richard would take us all fishing sometime in the summer, so I called her. She says, yeah, he loves to have me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like to make memories. And then all of a sudden, the uncle is the favorite.
Oh my gosh, we all went fishing. They all caught fish.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Great. And now,
But he doesn't fish much there. It's funny.
yes, yeah. When do you have time, right?
He's helping Dad.
We're gonna come to right here.
My goodness. And so, sorry, your husband.
So,
Okay. Okay.
When I
we're on the trip. That's good. Sorry.
And give to the kids. Yes, that's the most important thing. Yep. What's going on here, but there's like serious technical difficulties.
Hey, there we go, John. So what it is, different this and a different option.
Yeah, so now is his resident guide. And then we're just starting.
Full-time guide.
Check. Without fish in the Jock River with transmitters, we have 25 fish in the Ecoline section of the Rideau with transmitters. We have fish in the Petawawa River, sturgeon and muskies from the last couple of years. That's our latest study. We've been doing this since the 80s. Our first telemetry study on the 90s. So the fishery is there. There's a lot of people who work to educate and to take care of it and to make sure that our fishing community knows how to take care of their muskies. I mentioned Cook Labs, Dr. Stephen Cook, Dr. Sean Landsman at Carleton again, a renowned biologist, probably the guy who looks after our muskies in Canada more than anybody else. He's a young biologist. If you don't know who the River Keeper is in Ottawa, go look him up when you get home. What a phenomenal organization. They hold the governments, both sides of the border, provincially, to the standards to keep your water clean, to make sure that we're not putting too much salt on the road, make sure that pollution isn't getting dumped in. And they've done a really good job. And Bluefish Canada, this booth right here, that's Lawrence Gunther in there. He's a private guy who just cares about the environment. And he preaches sustainable fishing and invests in it and invests in educating kids. So our fishery around here isn't an accident. It's because a lot of people care about it. This is Ottawa Fish School. I run a summer camp called Ottawa Fish School. We have 216 kids registered this year. We got a tiger muskie out of out of the canal last year, but this is Hedrick Wachalka from Muskies Canada, one of the most knowledgeable people of all time. This is a 51-inch muskie skull from a muskie in Dow's Lake. Hedrick has a collection of muskie skulls. He breaks it out, he volunteers at the school regularly, and we teach the kids what the muskies are, how special they are, and how to look after them. When I tell you, he breaks those skulls out, there's no kids at our school that have phones. We never see phones. If you have kids, you know that phones are a problem. They're interested in the fish. He starts talking, you don't have to say a word to the kids. The skulls come out and they're on it. So that's the next generation of people who take care. There's a lot of people who take care of the fishery, and Muskies Canada's one of the really good groups that do that. Basic muskie biology. Muskies live for 30 to 35 years. We catch some fish multiple times in their life. 2 years ago, Noah got a 52-inch muskie twice, 6 weeks apart. That is really rare. That's the closest time period I've ever heard for a super large fish get caught twice, 6 weeks apart. From studies that have been done in recent years, there are muskies in systems that never get caught. They're just uncatchable. Your boat comes near, they know to go away. You cast, they know not to touch your presentation. For whatever reason, they never get caught, and there's fish that get caught more regularly. Putting our fish back, we catch the same fish more than once. Catch and release works. All the big fish are females. All your super breeders are females. There's 6 fish in the muskie family. The Esox family: pike, muskie, long-nosed pickerel, short-nosed pickerel, chain pickerel, and grass pickerel. Most families, 79% of all fish in the world are perkids. This family has 6 fish, muskies. That's how special. And muskies are only in North America. At the end of the last ice age, muskie populations in the rest of the world disappeared, died off in Europe, only for us here in Canada. And this part right here, this is going to become more relevant as we go forward. In Canada, we don't stock. We have wild fish fisheries. All our fish are wild fish fisheries. And I built my business guiding Americans, and I had Americans. Every week I would have somebody say, that's the strongest fish I've ever had on. I can't believe how strong that fish was. What a fight it was. Wild fish are stronger, better to survive, better suited for the environment. That's what we have in Canada. In the States, they have muskies in about 40 states, but probably 80 or 90% of their fish are stocked. They're aquariums. In places like Ohio and Pennsylvania, muskies live to 12 and 13 years old. That's the difference between stocked and wild, and I'm telling you that because I'll come back to it in a few minutes. If you're a muskie fisherman, you absolutely need to know this. Muskies want to travel an annual cycle. They want to do exactly the same thing every year, which is why constant water levels on the Ottawa River are perfect for them. They can get to exactly where they want to spawn every year, and they're part of the bay, and they know it, and they're good at spawning, and they're successful at it. And so they do that spawning routine every year. They recuperate nearby, and then they travel. When the water gets above 60 degrees, they travel to what's called a home range. Some fish travel a kilometer or 2, everything that they want in the area. Some of them travel 35 and 40 kilometers. The neat thing is they do that every year of their life. If that fish's home range is 40 kilometers from where it spawns there, recuperates, travels, spends its 15 or 16 weeks in its home range, and then meanders back to where it's going to spawn and rests for the winter. How do you use that as a muskie guy? You catch a fish at the end of June, not long after it spawned. You're in the area where it spawns every single year. That fish is 50 inches this year. It's going to be 50 and a quarter, 50 and a half next year. It's probably a 19-year-old fish. I can catch that fish for 11 more years. Even if I don't see that fish next year, or 2 years or 3 years, I know that fish is loyal to that spawning ground, and it's still in the area. That's a really powerful thing if you're a hunter. Same thing if you catch a fish in the summer. You know that that fish is hunting on its home range. Where you caught it is a place that it probably hunts regularly, even if I don't see it for 3 years. I know that it's there. I don't see it for 5. I caught the same fish 3 times on one spot in the fall over 5 years. 50.5 inches the first time, 51 the second, didn't see it for 2, 52.5 the third time. So just knew it was there. And so as musky guys, knowing that cycle is big, and we keep logs, okay? We keep really detailed logs of our musky trips. Ones where we don't catch fish, that's really important. We do that for, the logs go towards making and building musky regulations to the MNR. But what they do for you as a fisherman is that your knowledge is valid from year to year. The home ranges, where they spawn, where you caught that fish. And so when you start keeping the log, that information is good year after year after year. It's a constant. You're building a bigger and bigger database. In the fall, bait fish form up on temperatures, different schools in different places. The fish form up in the same places every year at the same temperature. Once you figure out there's bait fish there, and they formed up at 53 degrees. Sorry, I'm old, I talk Fahrenheit. They formed up at 53 degrees. That school's going to be there every year. And in musky fishing, we look for structure. Rocks, weeds, drop-offs. But in the fall, bait fish is better structure than structure is. That school of bait is there the whole time. The smallest fish in the Ottawa River, there's 90 some species of fish in the Ottawa River. Emerald shiners, the little bait fish that you buy at the store like that fish drives the whole river. If I find emerald shiners, I find muskies. Because everybody eats emerald shiners, and muskies eat everybody. So it's a really good relationship. So if I just hang around the emerald shiners in the fall and fish, there's muskies there, they turn on and off. And so that's how knowing that annual cycle, and that's the advantage of keeping logs and how it's going to help you hunt year after year. Annual cycle, my favorite time of year to fish is post-spawn bite. Late June, end of June, early July. Catch 50-inch fish just about every year. 50-inch fish is the fish of a lifetime for most musky fishermen who fish their whole life. And we get that fish every week or two in the Ottawa. That's how special this place is. So that post-spawn bite, for me, that's one of the times to target big fish. Works especially well. September is the other time when fish put on a feed bag. As soon as it starts to get cold, they know to start to eat to get ready for winter. And so in Muskies Canada, the biggest fish in our chapter is typically caught in the afternoon in September, most years. It's interesting how that works. And your fish are getting fatter and fatter. From the last week of August to the first week of November, your big fish are putting on a half a pound to a pound a week. And they're at full weight, as big as they'll be by early November, and that's when you have a shot at a world record fish. That's why we go out when it's really cold at the end of the year, because the heaviest fish you'll ever catch will be there. On the moon, our fish is more reactive to the moon than any other fish. As a guide, I know when the moon rises, every day before I go out, I know when the moon rises, when the moon set's going to be, when the moon's going to be directly overhead, when it's going to be directly on the other side of the world. That's when I'm most likely, before I go out of the day, I'm most likely to catch a fish in those periods. Moon directly overhead and the moon on the other side of the world are your majors. They last maybe an hour to 2 hours. The magnetics make the fish uncomfortable, make them move around, work on their air bladders. There's different theories, but I can tell you that's when we catch our fish. So we pay attention to those. Full moons and new moons are the first charter days that we have booked. We get booked every year, our full moons and our new moons. But in truth, the weather trumps the moon. So if you have a full moon and the weather's not right, your fishing's still going to be poor. If you're not on a full moon, you're in the middle of a cycle, and the weather's great, you're going to catch fish. So the weather trumps the moon, and weather peaks. Pre-storm, dropping barometer. That's your best bite of all. If you can combine, sunset is your most active time for muskies. If you can combine sunset with a storm coming in and a dropping barometer, that's gold in the musky world. We time our charters. We go out at 12 or 1 in the afternoon most days so that we can fish till half an hour, 45 minutes after sunset. Because muskies are most active at sunset and least active first thing in the morning. This is the sleep in late, catch more fish. That's why I'm a muskie. Ottawa's muskie heaven. This fish right here, I'm going to talk about technology for a second. Technology is a double-edged sword right now. If you are a fisher, holy mackerel, is this your time. Technology is better than it's ever been. You can catch more fish, you can find more fish really easy. If you're a muskie, if you're an apex predator, oh my gosh, you have a lot to watch out for in the next bunch of years. Live scope, the latest technology, has been around for 5 years. You heard Ashley talk about it. I've been talking against it for a couple of years, just because I'm an old guy and I think I know, I've seen fisheries come and go. And I'm worried about what this technology is going to do. That fish that you just saw, we went down to Lake of Two Mountains towards Montreal. 2 good friends and I, 2 really incredible fishermen. We had live scope. We trolled for 20 hours for 2 days. We watched our baits behind the boat, 60, 70, and 80 feet. We saw them. We knew exactly where they were in the column. It was perfect spread, just like Ashley had on our screen. We engaged 8 fish in 2 days. We watched every fish come up off the bottom on the screen. There's a fish in behind that rod. We pulled the rod out of the holder and played the fish for 30 seconds. Teased it, and got it to strike, or it went away. 5 of the 8 fish that we had come to the boat, we had strike. 3 of them, three of them we got in. 4 of those fish were technology fish. 100% technology fish. When I started fishing, even if I go back 30 years in the 90s, I didn't have technology in my boat. I knew there was a muskie on the spot because I caught it, because I saw it, or because somebody in Muskies Canada told me it was there. And then I went and played around until I saw one. I know it's there. And now I can leave the dock, turn on my side imaging and go, there's one there. It's 40 feet over there. It's 4 feet off the bottom. Looks like it's about 43, 44 inches long. It's facing that way. Because it's up off the bottom, I know it's probably active and I got a chance of catching it. What a difference in 30 years. And this technology's been around for 5 years, so I say to you, use it, enjoy it, but there's going to be a reckoning for fish like a muskie. We don't stock in Canada. We have wild fish fisheries. And so if we destroy a fishery, if we hurt a fishery, it's gone. We can't rebuild it. We're not even capable of rebuilding it, not even close. So the technology, this technology, as a muskie guy, it scares me. We had a guy on, we do a program called the Sioux Seminar Series. Sioux, one of the most famous muskie lures of all time. They're out of Wisconsin. We do that, we've done that for a couple of years. 2 weeks ago, we had Steve Heiting on as our guest. Steve Heiting is the editor of Muskie Hunter magazine for 27 years, one of the most influential educators in the muskie world of all time. We were talking to Steve before about what we're going to talk about in our show, and Steve, I asked him about live scope. I said, I want to talk about live scope. He said, I don't want to talk about it. It's a red light issue for me, and I just get too upset. And so, people with gray hair, old people that have seen fisheries come and go are really concerned about this. When you can find fish that you couldn't find before, when you can find fish in open water, when you can find fish that were capable of hiding, when you can see a fish, when you can see my friend Wally Robbins goes to fish with Darcy Cox in Lake of the Woods every year for 15 years. One of the best guides there is. They pulled up on a spot in September, and Wally said Darcy got more excited than I've ever seen him get. He's got live scope and he's looking off the side of the boat. It's the biggest fish he's seen in 15 years. It's down 20 feet. They line up and Wally casts at it, and the fish moves down from 20 to 40 feet. And Darcy says, that's it, we have to go. We can't fish it. And his guest, Wally, is a guy who's filled with ethics too, and so at 20 feet that fish is catchable, and you're not going to hurt it. At 40 feet, you're probably going to kill it. How many guys are going to leave? How many people are going to leave the biggest fish they've ever seen alone when you can see it and you can find it? So if you have to rely on them, most of us are really good. We take care of our fish, we treat them, but if you have to rely on that for a population to survive, I'm pretty worried. So there'll be a reckoning with technology. I'm going to buy live scope this year. First time I've railed against it for a couple years, but I'm going to buy it because as a guide, I need it. But I'm going to tell people, I'm going to keep talking about what I think it's going to do to the fishery and monitor it. There's going to be a reckoning in the next couple of years. The technology is just where it is today. And so there's a new generation of live scope coming out soon. And where it is next year and 2 years from now and 3 years, I'll be able to say, where's the 10 biggest fish within a kilometer of my boat? That's dangerous for muskies. It's good for, if you fish for a lot of fish, it's dangerous for muskies. The best thing we can teach you as guides is to finish at the side of the boat. The craziest thing that happens in freshwater fishing for us is catching a muskie at the side of the boat. We catch 40 to 50% of our fish now at the side of the boat. In the 80s, maybe 5% of our fish. But they've learned we have to play for you right now, and I'll talk a little bit about finishing at the side of the boat. After.
Hello? All right. Well, first I'll tell you a little bit about me. I'm Noah. I'm 23 years old. I got addicted to muskies when I was 12. My guiding career started when I was 14, and last year was my first year working for the Musky Factory. I work part-time, and this year I'm going to be head guide at the Musky Factory. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'll start with the first video here. Just give me one sec. Uh-oh. Need your help. I don't know why it switches up. Show it my phone.
It's always great speaking in Ottawa because we have such a big high-tech sector that there's always people in the crowd. I can fix that for you. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. So this is a pretty cool video. This video got about 750,000 views on our social media last year. I'm fishing myself here. Let's just start playing it. And a really cool thing happened, something that we don't usually see while musky fishing. Usually we get a follow to the boat. The fish is following the bait. But here, this fish came up just to take a look at me. It was just curious what the boat was. If you look closely right here, you'll see that fish come in. I see that fish, but my bait's out there. So I just start reeling it in, and I finish at the side of the boat. So I do this circle thing. It's really hard because I'm using a glide bait. But I dance my glide bait around the boat for about 45 seconds. I don't see the fish, but I know it's around there.
This is a master class on using a glide bait. There are very few people who can do what Noah's doing right there with a glide bait. It's a really productive bait and a really
There it is.
fun bait.
She came up. Exactly like John said, you hook a fish that big with 12 inches of line out, all hell breaks loose. And of course, if you've ever netted a muskie solo, you know it's really hard. When you throw the dog in the mix of it, it's nearly impossible. Yet I still bring them out every time. Yeah, he's about to jump in the water.
People that don't musky fish often ask, how long does it take you to bring that fish in? Like 15, 20 minutes? 45 seconds, a minute, a lot of the time.
Question.
John.
So yeah.
How long would you continue doing figure eights?
Sorry?
How long would you continue doing figure eights if you spot a muskie?
Well, so this fish was a bit different. It came in to just look at me. So it didn't follow my bait in. Had that fish followed my bait in, it went in a circle and then it swam away. Maybe I would have kept doing, I don't know, 3 or 4 more turns, and then I would have gave a cast back to where that fish went. However, that fish just came up and looked at me. So I knew it didn't already get interested in my bait, and I knew it was down there somewhere. And I just kind of saw it slowly swim away. It didn't dart off anywhere. So I kept doing figure eights, and I had a good feeling that fish probably was going to come back. But yeah, exactly like you were saying, how long would I do it? If I had to follow, maybe just a few more times, and then I cast it back a couple times. And if not, I actually would have backed off the spot completely. Because if you hound a fish and you came in first and then just turned off, if you hound them, you're probably not going to see them again. So sometimes I'll actually fully back off the spot and then come back and re-fish it. So I give that fish about 10 minutes to just settle, and then it kind of reintroduce them, maybe with a different bait or something like that. All right, so this is the second video. Top water is my favorite way to catch a fish. And especially when you get a topwater follow, they're right at the surface. So they actually will create a wake coming in behind your bait. So it's really easy to spot a follow when your bait's way out there. So I'm just bringing in my topwater here, and about halfway through, you won't be able to hear it, but I say, oh, here we go. Because I see this wake form up, right there. There's a wave in behind my bait, it's coming in. And right here, I'm adjusting my speed. That fish didn't bite right away, so I'm speeding up, and now I'm gonna turn it right and then turn it left to get that fish to strike. So the first thing I'm gonna do when I'm finishing at the side of the boat or I have a follow, is I'm gonna try to adjust my speed. I'm gonna speed it up ever so slightly or slow it down. If that doesn't get the fish to bite, then I'm gonna switch over and I'm gonna try to change the direction of the bait. And then if it's going around in circles, it's not biting because of the change in speed or the direction, I'm gonna change the depth of my lure. I'm gonna bring my rod tip way down, 2 feet under, and then I'm gonna bring my bait up. And I'll do that with the topwater bait as well. So yeah, there we go. Oh, whoops. Sorry.
No worries.
Accidentally went to the start. So yeah, that was the first fish that I showed you of the glide bait. So I think it was probably about a 45, 46 inch fish. And then that was that topwater fish right there. That was also, I think it was about 45, 46. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well done. Noah covered a lot of the details of how to finish well at the side of the boat. There's a couple more I'll go over that are important. I said the fights are 45 seconds, 60 seconds. I could catch that fish on a light rod, on a spinning rod, and I could have a 45-minute fight with it. And it would be the fight of the year. It'd be fantastic. And I'd watch that fish swim away. It's going to swim away with its heart racing. And if I catch it in the summer, there's very low dissolved oxygen in the water. It's probably going to lay on the bottom for 2 days with its heart racing and never being able to get enough oxygen. Then its heart's going to blow up and it's going to die. But it swam away, so I feel good about it. I just didn't see the results after. And that's why in musky fishing, everything we do, the most important thing isn't you catching the fish, it's that fish swimming away. So somebody else can catch it, so it can reproduce. Because that population is all wild and all naturally reproducing. So the equipment that we have is all meant for the good of the fish. This is meant so I have a short, tough fight with fish. I have a 9-foot fishing rod. When I started musky fishing, a lot of rods were 5.5 and 6 feet long. They've been getting longer and longer and longer. I have 10-foot rods now, and there's 12-foot rods out there. What that lets us do, one, it lets you cast easier, farther, keep your back straight. Everything is easier that way. Number two, at the side of the boat, it lets you finish better. One of the things I like to tease my American muskie guests with is you're fishing for Canadian muskies up here. So big fish can't turn sharp circles. Not figure eights like little American muskies, big circles. Because you can't cut that fish off when it's following your bait. A lot of times you can't get a piece of paper between the fish's nose and your bait, and you need to keep it engaged. And if you pull your bait, if you turn sharp and pull back past it, that fish knows in nature that bass or that fish it was chasing is just too fast for it to turn around and come back. So we do big circles and keep it engaged. The longer rod, absolutely essential for fishing. Another essential piece for finishing at the side of the boat. Oh, that doesn't look good, does it? Sunglasses. If you go fishing, polarized lenses. Okay, we give our kids polarized. We encourage our kids on the first day of fish school because they're fishing in the canal. Have polarized lenses. The kids with lenses catch twice as many fish because they can see them. And the muskies, you can see the muskie. You can see the follow. You can see way deeper into the water. What you're watching when a fish follows is not your bait. You're looking behind your bait and you're looking down deep. When you're asking how long you should finish, a lot of follows come in low and slow and well behind your bait. So finishing 2 or 3 times on a circle. When you're fishing at night or in dirty water, your fish isn't hunting with its eyes anymore. Muskies are visual predators first, but they have a lateral line on the side of their body. That black line that you see on the side of a largemouth bass is an example of a lateral line. Muskies have an incredible lateral line for their sense of feel. So even in totally dirty water, they don't have to see it. They can feel it off their side. They know exactly where it is. And 19 out of 20 times, because it was tested in the University of Minnesota, they are still likely to hit that predator, that bait, in the head, in the dark, in the dirty water. So finishing a little longer in those cases, that much more important. We're going to go over a couple of the presentations that we use. We said we'd give our 6 more. You've already seen 2 that we use. The number 1 bait in the muskie world, what produces the most fish, this was invented by a housewife from Wisconsin about 25 years ago. The original one is a cowgirl. She took 2 blades, clevises, and intertwined them. Nobody had ever done that. That creates a vibration, a signature in the water, and for whatever reason, muskies can't get over. It hypnotizes them. It makes this bait seem like it's a much bigger object in the water than it actually is. And for 25 years, it's probably the biggest innovation in our muskie world. So double-bladed bucktails catch the most fish in the world, period. And this color, there's an old rule in the muskie world, you can use any color you want as long as it's black. Black and orange, black and chartreuse, 2 of the absolute staples in our world. On sunny days, high pressure days, blue sky days, you want a disco ball. You want something that reflects light, that's got so much glow coming off it that a fish can't get a good image of it. So bright days, bright colors. I'll just grab one other version. Spinner baits. This is a hybrid. This is a musky spinner bait. Treble hook on the front, because keeping fish pinned is a big issue for us. I'd much rather fish with a treble hook than single hooks. Suic. This is a suic that was almost new when I gave it to Noah at the start of this season. Doesn't look so new anymore. Pretty worn in on the side. That's a lot of teeth. That's probably, I don't know, that's a couple dozen fish already. This lure was invented in Wisconsin in the 1950s by a guy who owned a trout farm. And what he noticed was that when his trout got sick they would try to dive down and they'd float back up and try to dive back down. And that was the international symbol for the bigger fish in the pond to come up and eat that fish. It's wounded fish, it's a prey. In nature, that is a turn on for fish, period. A wounded fish acting like a wounded fish, it's a hockey stick. There's nothing to it. It hasn't changed for 70 years. All it does is catch fish. It's how you work it. And so in fishing, we have, and as guides, we have to have what's called idiot baits. And not because we're giving them to idiots, but not everybody has the same ability to work a glide bait like you saw Noah doing. And this is one that you just pull it and pause it. And however you do that, it's going to catch fish. I'll show one more of these. That's our favorite lure in November and December. Frankensyrup. Dives down to about 6 feet and floats up really slowly. It hangs. Your fish are so slow at the end of the year. Biggest weakness musky fishermen have is we fish too fast. But that bait rising up, one of the prettiest strikes you ever get is that fish coming up off the bottom and curling and hitting that. Soft plastics, usually they're a little bit bigger, but this is one that I trolled. I had this in my box for the end of the year, and that's a modification that I put on it. But baits with tails are the other biggest innovation in the musky world. These twisted tails and stuff came in the 70s elsewhere. Musky people are the last adapters of new technology. You gotta sit and look at it for a bunch of years going, man, those walleye guys are catching a lot of fish on that twister tail. And then we come out with something like this, and again, these came out and there was no instruction, so everybody did something different with it. The guys on Lake St. Clair cast it out and they rip it. The deepest spot in their lake is 18 feet, so you can picture them ripping it up, letting it drop 6 or 8 feet. They cover a lot of the water column. We weren't sure what to do with it around Ottawa. For me, this is tough conditions. A lot of people use it all the time. We do as well, but tough conditions. When your fish are turned off, they're laying on the bottom and they're inactive and they don't want to get up and chase. When they're active, they're off the bottom and they'll chase 40 or 60 feet sometimes for baits. But inactive, they won't chase 6 feet. They probably won't chase 4. They might chase 3. They might chase 2. So as a musky guy, I'm casting this out and I'm just reeling it slowly close to the bottom. And I'm letting that tail look alive and do the work, and I'm vulnerable. My pose when I do this, we call it the Jersey retrieve. You make a long cast, you stick your belly out, you drop your jaw, and you do that. And that's really odd in the musky world because most musky guys know how to fish fast or faster. That's it. But there's times, especially when your fish are turned off, and you need to go slow. That glide bait, letting it pause and hang. And when your fish are turned off, that's another big one. And especially in November, when I was talking about fishing around schools of emerald shiners, you want to fish slow. You want to leave a glide bait hanging. You want to leave a bait resting. That gets fish. This one here we had a lot of luck with last year. This is a Shadzilla. This is a Canadian-made bait by Water Wolf Lures. And again, it's an idiot bait. Cast it out. That's all you have to do. The tail does the work for you. You can pump it if you want. You can leave it lay on the bottom and hop it. But if all you do is reel it in, it catches fish. Trolling or casting, really simple, really easy too. You know, you're looking at me picking up big lures. I'm not throwing that all day. This one's really easy. And as you get older, it's all about really easy. Small crankbaits. That's a Clarkie bait, Canadian-made bait. Noah Clark makes it. That's about the smallest musky bait I'll use. Want to show is Mike's brass bait here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Bait maker in Ottawa named Mike Spratt. He makes art. A lot of musky do-it lures are $200 and $300 these days. I saw bait sell for $2,500 last year. I'm not sure. No lie, not one, like a whole bunch of them. So there's a lot of baits. This is wood art. We fish with a lot of baits that are this expensive, and then we take them out and try and get them ripped up. I don't know, it's weird, but that is a beautiful lure. So. We'll go back. That's the manta, the glide bait that you saw in Noah's video. I think that's the exact one. You can see how worn out it is. So that's again a really easy bait to work and a fun bait. There's a bit of a learning curve in getting that technique down, and a lot of learning curve to get it down like him. But that's a really fun and easy bait to fish with. So that covers most of us. Yeah. All right. And so at this point, if there's any questions, now would be a good time for you to put your hand up and ask them.
What's the best for you? Like, what's the best depth of water? Like roll up.
That's a great question. Interestingly, the first study that we did on the river with transmitters was in 1994. And what we discovered was there were fish that lived shallow all the time, all year, 8 or 10 feet or less all year. There were fish that lived deep all year, deeper than 15 feet all year. And there was a third group that moved in between those. So all three are like shallow or deep are both options for you. I make a living fishing shallow. I like to cast. I know that if I'm in shallow, I'm close to the fish. Even if it's laying on the bottom and inactive in 7 feet of water, 6 feet of water, my bait's still close to it.
Is it more top water there?
I'd use top water. I love top water. So 1 foot to 20 feet, but mostly around weeds. Your top water mostly probably around weeds.
They all travel in schools too?
Do muskies travel in schools? So historically, people think thought muskies were loners, that they weren't together. But I can tell you, if you find a good school of bait fish, that there's a whole bunch of muskies around it. You know, and I was fishing with a famous American guy named Spencer Berman on Lake St. Clair, and we were passing. They have massive schools of shad out on Lake St. Clair, and we were passing a school that was like 1 kilometer long. And there were fish all over off the sides of that. And Spencer said, "How many muskies do you think are there, John?" I said, "I don't know, man, a lot." He said, "I think there's 2,000 around the school. So around the school of bait. So if there's a good feeding opportunity, they'll hang out. Little muskies can't hang out with big muskies. If you're under 30 inches, you can't hang out with 50 inches. Even if you're low 30s, a 50-incher will eat you and swallow you, no problem. Swim around with your tail sticking out of its mouth for a day while it slowly digests you. So there's a difference in the size of fish that hang out together. What pound test? Another good question. So because we're all about releasing that fish, minimum 80-pound test. 100 pound on our rod. Last thing I ever want to do is break off a lure in a fish's mouth. That ruins your day. We see a muskie swim away, not because you lost a $150 lure, because there's a good chance that fish is going to die. And we're all about releasing the fish. So 80 or 100 pounds, my leader is 175-pound fluorocarbon, saltwater, marlin leader. Muskie's teeth come to a perfect point and they have a blade on one side. I've seen 100 pounds, 125, 140 just cut. So yeah, you need the heavy duty equipment if you're fishing for the good of the fish. All right.
On your lure presentation, we didn't see any of those single prong surface baits, the Buckner. Do you use much of those? Yep, there it is. That's a rocker flopper. That's it.
So the video that Noah had of a surface bait was what surface bait?
Pat Pastor.
Got faster.
Yeah.
Excuse us.
A modified Pat Pastor.
That's a big mama lure, and so that's a Canadian MKT, really good surface bait as well. So yeah, so only surface bait's only the best bait, probably about 15% of the time, but it's the most fun bait to fish with, and you catch a higher percentage of big fish with it.
Do you usually use that on calmer water? The more calm conditions than
You know, it takes musky guys a lot to learn that this works really well in big waves too. There was a guide in the States named Chad Kane, and he was famous for going out in 3-foot waves and pulling a surface bait. And there was a painting that was done of him, of a muskie coming through a 3-foot wave, eating a surface bait. So it seems so much more intelligent to us, but no, the muskies can get on it in the waves just as well. You guys have been great. You're small, but you're wonderful. Thank you very much. Terrific crowd. Appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys. A lot of information there. Awesome. We'll be right back here in a couple of minutes, folks. If you're a dog lover, we've got the Bavarian and Hanoverian Scenthound Club of Canada is going to bring over a dog and do a little chat for you. See you in about 5 minutes.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, like I've seen people